It's June 2015 in Athens, Greece. Nikos is 52 years old. He owns a small electrical repair shop. For 28 years, he's done everything he was told would keep him financially safe. He paid taxes. He saved consistently. He kept 84,000 euros in a local bank. He even bought government bonds because his advisor told him they were secure. On Friday, everything still worked the way it always had. On Monday, the banks didn't open. Withdrawals were limited to 60 euros per day. International transfers were blocked. Within weeks, suppliers stopped accepting local payments. Nothing Nikos owned disappeared. But everything he relied on stopped working the way he expected. His cash was still there. His bonds still existed. His insurance policy was still valid. But none of it could be used the way he planned. Because nothing broke. The rules changed. And when the rules changed, the things he trusted most became the things that trapped him. What happened to Nikos wasn't unusual. In 1998, in Moscow, government bonds stopped paying in real value. In 2018, in Venezuela, a salary couldn't cover basic food. In 2008, in Iceland, banks froze within days. Different places, different currencies, different governments, but the same pattern. And here's what makes it difficult to see. It doesn't start when things collapse. It starts earlier, when life still feels normal, when paychecks still come in, when prices haven't fully adjusted yet, but underneath that surface, something has already begun to shift. Most people imagine financial collapse as something dramatic, cash becoming worthless overnight, prices exploding, everything falling apart, but that's rare. More often, it happens slowly. Prices rise faster than income. Savings lose value year by year. Assets look stable but feel weaker over time. Nothing crashes, but your money quietly does less for you. And that's what matters. Because the real change isn't what you see. It's what your money can no longer do. In 1977, a public school teacher in New York bought a government bond. It paid 7% per year. Safe, predictable, reliable. A few years later, inflation rose to over 13%. The bond still paid 7%, exactly as promised. But everything else became more expensive. Food, housing, energy. So even though he received every payment, he could afford less each year. Nothing failed on paper. But in real life, he was losing ground because the payment stayed fixed and everything else didn't. In 2020, Maria in Sao Paulo kept most of her savings in cash. It felt safe. No risk. No volatility. No surprises. But over the next few years, food prices increased. Rent went up. Transportation became more expensive. Her balance didn't change, but her life did. And slowly, her money lost its ability to keep up. Not all at once, but enough that she had to adjust. Cut back, delay plans, lower expectations, and that's how it happens. Not through a sudden loss, but through a steady decline in what your money can actually do. A fixed monthly payment sounds safe. You know exactly what you'll receive. But life doesn't stay fixed. If your income stays the same, while everything else gets more expensive, you're not stable. You're falling behind. Slowly. And at first, it doesn't feel like a problem. Because nothing changes dramatically. The number's still there. The payment still arrives. But over time, that same amount covers less. Until eventually, it no longer covers what it used to. Not all property behaves the same way. If you own your home outright, that's one thing. But if you rely on rental income, and that income doesn't keep up with rising costs, you're exposed. Your expenses increase. Maintenance, taxes, repairs. But your income may not. And over time, what once produced income can begin to consume it, especially if conditions change and buyers disappear or tenants can't afford to pay. Some money isn't fully yours to control. Retirement accounts, pension funds, structured savings plans. You can't move it freely. You can't react quickly. You have to follow rules. And those rules can change. Access can be delayed. Withdrawals can be limited. Conditions can be adjusted. And when that happens, you may not be able to respond when it matters most. Because your money is there, but not available when you need it. At first, these things seem unrelated. Cash, bonds, insurance, property, retirement accounts, but they all share something important. They depend on stability. They work best when things don't change. But when conditions shift, they don't adjust. And that's the risk. Not that they disappear, but just not in your favor anymore. When changes happen, not everyone is affected equally. People who can move quickly adapt. P-up, pay-o, boo, stay where they are, and absorb the impact. And that differ is what determines the outcome. So the question isn't whether things will see, they ow. The real question is, if something shifts, even slightly, will what you own, STI, because most losses don't come from something breaking completely. They come from something still working, just differently enough, that you don't notice right away. And by the time you do, it's already been happening for longer than you think.